A lot of Unfinity spoilers were brought up during the San Diego Comic-Con that just happened recently. And we're going to kind of dive into it and see what kind of crazy stuff is occurring because I guess we're getting stickers in Eternal formats? Welcome on in, Dragonfolk. I hope everybody's been having a fantastic day today. Hopefully, your weekend was great as well. I know mine was. I was able to go to a nice little reptile expo, got myself some cool little knickknacks. And one day, hopefully, we'll have ourselves a little tiny dinosaur baby to take care of. So I'm excited for that. But enough about me. Let's talk about you guys. Before we actually get into the video, we are encroaching upon, I believe we're almost at 180 subscribers as far as when I'm recording this, which means that we only have 20 more subscribers to go until we hit 200. So things are going great. Thank you all so much for your support. I really do appreciate it. Continue to tell your friends about us. Tell your neighbors, the stranger you see at work that doesn't want anything to do with Magic the Gathering, but you really want them to try and start to get into it. I don't know. Anyway, enough about that. Let's talk about stickers, right? So, while I was doing stuff this weekend, of course, it's when I'm busy do I get the crazy updates that occur during big events such as San Diego Comic-Con. I should have known San Diego Comic-Con was happening this weekend, and of course, I completely skipped over it. So as you don't know, San Diego Comic-Con, big comic book convention out in San Diego, of all places, right? They did a little spoiler for Unfinity there. So I know a decent amount of stuff of Infinity has been taken care of, but we kind of got a better idea into a mechanic that has been brought into play, and we're going to go over that right now. All right, so obviously here we have the Unfinity spoilers, right? It looks like, from what I can tell here, I'm not sure if this was spoiled throughout that day, but we have 254 cards and 48 sticker cards. 30 legendary creatures, about 1/4 of the rares and mythic rares will be eternal playable. 14 cards and 1 playable game object per booster pack. Release date, October 7th, 2022. So, just a month after Dominaria United comes out, Unfinity comes out. Not even a month later, it's out. So very, very quick to drop a new set. Obviously, Unfinity, for those of you who don't know what an unset is essentially a set that normally has a bunch of cards in it that are kind of like silly joke stuff, right? Originally, they had cards such as Rock Lobster and Scissor Lizard and paper airplane or something. I can't remember what the paper one was, but yeah, essentially it's all joke stuff, right? None of the unstuff has ever been legal in any format in Magic the Gathering until now. Apparently, they're making some of the cards from Unfinity legal in Eternal formats. So Eternal formats being Commander, Legacy, and Vintage. Those are where these will be available. And so we're going to kind of go over what these are and what they do and everything in the sort of it. So essentially what's happening here is you have 2 new resources to look over, right? You have things such as tickets, which is represented by this symbol right here, as well as this symbol right down here, if we can kind of bring that up a little bit. That right there is a ticket symbol. So whenever we see that symbol, we'll look at it and we'll kind of go over this. So I'll show you all. You know what? Hold on. Let me move myself. All right. So now that we're over on this side, hi. Hopefully you guys are all good. We're going to go over the cards and what they do. So you have these sticker cards, right? And these sticker cards are like token-esque kind of deals, but they have an interesting mechanic that you can use. Essentially, you can choose these stickers based on what you want to have done, right? What you'll do is as you play these cards, like Wicker Picker, you do things like creature spells you cast have sticker kicker 1. So you can pay an additional 1 as you cast a creature spell, and if you do, you get a ticket, then you may put a sticker on it. So you get a ticket, right, and you have to keep count of your tickets. And then if you have enough tickets, you can make a sticker, right? So the sticker can represent several things, right? I'm not too sure whether or not the happy sticker, the dead sticker, and the squirrel sticker each are their own thing. I'm assuming it doesn't really matter as far as it's all concerned. Another thing to note as far as the stickers go, while you can quite literally put stickers on your cards, you do not have to. It has been said by Mark Rosewater and everybody who's been talking about this. You don't need to put the stickers onto cards because obviously that could, it's going to take the stuff off the card. It's going to, ruin the sleeve. So nobody really wants to do that. But what you can do instead is just take like a piece of paper and put it on top of the card, and you can write whatever the effect is, right? Or you can just like put it on there and just make it a permanent board state to be like, yeah, this is what we're talking about. So with the stickers, right? So let's say you get 2 tickets, right? Let's say you do this a second time, you get another ticket, you're at 2 tickets. You can choose between 2 things on this token right here. What it is you can choose between to add a sticker to your card that allows it to tap it to add 2, and you can spend this mana only to cast non-creature spells. Or you can use 2 tickets to make that creature a 3/2. You can change its base power and toughness with stickers as well. And again, if you get 3 stickers for Happy Dead Squirrel, you can give it Infect, right? Which obviously we all know what Infect does. Poison counters, -1/-1 counters, the same deal. Then, if you have 4 tickets, you can add a sticker, and it will make the creature a 4/7. A base power and toughness of 4/7. So, obviously, there's a lot of ways to change your creatures into what they do, and to change what exactly they are. And it's crazy to me that this is legal, because it seems just like a jank little way to, like, I don't know, like play around with stuff. It doesn't seem very like up the alley. Like I'd love to play this in its own draft format, but I don't know how much it's going to actually see play in other decks. I mean, granted, you could play things like this that have no color cost, play it in Commander, and then get stickers, and then just start giving your dragons Infect, or giving your, your spells or your wizards or whatever, add 2 and then spend this to cast non-creature spells. There are crazy things you can do. But then the other thing we have to talk about, right, is this here, right? So Wicker Picker is a eternal card, and you can tell it's eternal because it's got the black border, but it's missing the little symbol down here at the bottom, right? So you'll see that in the future what that means. So we've gone over Wicker Picker. That's a new card. These next 2 cards, Far Out and Magar of the Magic Strings, right? So it's strange that this one doesn't have a little guy down there. I'm not certain whether or not he's actually going to be legal in Eternal, but it seems like he might be. But then you have cards like this. You'll see that this little symbol down here at the bottom is much different from this symbol down here at the bottom, right? This symbol means that card is part of the Eternal format, and you can use that in Commander, in Vintage, and in Legacy. You can even make this card, Magar of the Magic Strings, your Commander for your deck. So we'll go over some of the cards. So Far Out's an enchantment that says rather than choose the indicated number of modes for all spells and abilities you control, you may choose one or more modes. You can't choose any mode more than once. So it seems that that's an enchantment that essentially allows you to do whatever. I mean, like, if you have a thing that says, like, choose one, you can choose everything on there. So that makes things like the charms more powerful. That makes things like the command cards more powerful. It's a very interesting card to see, but you'll see that it's only available in this specific format. It's not actually legal in anything. So, as far as playing around with friends and having a fun little time using cards that are from the unsets, that's where this is. You can't use this in a tournament. Now, Magar of the Magic Strings, a Rakdos Minotaur Performer, which is pretty interesting. They have you essentially pay its casting cost to note the name of target instant or sorcery card in your graveyard and put it into the battlefield face down. It's a 3/3 creature with whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, you may create a copy of the card with the noted name. You may cast the copy without paying its mana cost. And if this creature would leave the battlefield, exile it instead of putting it anywhere else. So, this is kind of a weird way for you to just play your spells and make your spells creatures. So, if you have a lightning bolt, and you go and you swing in with your lightning bolt, that's a creature now, and you deal damage to a player, you could then just cast lightning bolt for free. So, in red-black, I can see that going pretty crazy pretty fast. I'd be curious to see how it's utilized or if there's ever a deck made out of it, but this is like a fun little thing to play with friends. I genuinely think that would be a fun little thing, especially in just like a red-black, destruction kind of spellcaster deck. I think it'd be pretty fun to know that you can just like make your sorceries and instants creatures and then, deal damage. It's just wild. So, on to another card that's only specific for this, right, is the Animate Object, right? You get 7 tickets. Choose an inanimate object you own from outside the game. Put a power and toughness sticker on it. You may also put a name sticker, an art sticker, and or an ability sticker on it, and put it into the battlefield as a creature. So, again, stickers. This one is not for the Eternal format, so most people probably are not going to care, but seems like a very interesting card. You essentially get 7 tickets to just do whatever you want with as far as their stickers go. The Carnival Carnivore, which as far as we can tell is a card that is legal in Eternal, what does that say next to him? That thing in here says grand opening, enter here, and it looks like it's just a giant crab thing, just a big old mouth. They're trying to make it look like a carnival attraction, and it's just this thing that eats people. So it's got Death Touch. When Carnival Carnivore enters the battlefield, you get a ticket. Then you may put a sticker on a non-land permanent you own. So you can just, once you get a ticket, you can put a sticker on a non-land permanent you own. Obviously, you can only put a sticker down as long as you have the tickets for it, as far as I can tell. Unless this skips that and allows you to just put a sticker on a non-land permanent, then you can go from there, right? Angelic Herald, this is another card that is specifically going to be in the UN format, right? Flying, when Angelic Herald enters the battlefield, you may put a name sticker on a non-land permanent you control. Each creature you control with 3 or more words in its name get +1/+1. So a name sticker. So some of these cards have stickers that will allow you to change the name of your creature, which is kind of interesting. So, who even knows what's going to be happening with this? This is definitely a weird concept as far as this goes, but again, the unsets are supposed to be weird, right? That's their whole thing. Erzostar Cannonball, this is another sticker card, right? These ones give Exalted. So whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gets +1/+1 till end of turn for each instance of Exalted among permanents you control. So this would get +2/+2 among, for other Exalted stuff. So double Exalted's pretty weird. 3 will get you Shadow. 2 will get you will make it a 1/5 creature. And 4 will make it a 7/4 creature. So that's kind of weird. Kind of neat. I think those are all the new cards, because now we go into the cards that I believe have already been announced. So You have things like Water Gun Balloon Game, which is specific for this format. Enters the battlefield, each player puts a pop counter on 0, which would literally be somewhere over here. A pop counter on 0, or use the bullseye, right? So just right here, I guess. And then whenever a player casts a spell, move that player's pop counter up 1. So go 1. And then whenever a player's pop counter hits 5, that player creates a 5/5 pink giant teddy bear creature and resets all pop counters to 0. Pretty interesting stuff. Essentially allows you to create a giant teddy bear creature, and you have to like keep a counter and keep moving it up as it goes on there. So very interesting. Space Family Goblinson, right? This is all stuff we've gone over. I think something I did want to bring up though, that a lot of people, I'm not sure whether or not they knew or didn't know, but Unfinity, probably not a lot of people who are new to the game are realizing what this is. Obviously, most of this is all just joke stuff. This card is actually Eternal Legal. Destroy target creature. If that creature dies this way, its controller creates 2 tokens that are copies of that creature, except their base power is half that creature's power, and their base toughness is half that creature's toughness, round up each time. So this literally just takes 1 creature, cuts it in 2, so your Gigantosaurus becomes a 2 creatures, and both of them are 5/5s, as opposed to 1/10/10. I think it's Gigantosaurus, right? So just a concept, right? So this card is Eternal Legal. This can be used. Not sure when that would be useful, but I'm sure it's got its uses. But this here, this is what I wanted to talk about. So for those of you who don't know, in this set, they will be they'll be reprinting the Shocklands, which come in the Ravnica sets, right? They'll be reprinting the Shocklands, but they'll give them these Borderless Arts to them. Now, we've already got Borderless Arts for the Bounce Lands, right? Now we're getting Borderless Arts for these. And these are really cool art, right? Breeding Pool, Sacred Foundry, Overgrown Tomb, Steam Vents. Look at the art on these guys. Godless Shrine, come on with that. That's a great Godless Shrine getting reprinted to look like this. I guarantee this card goes for a lot of money. Honestly, the Shocklands are pretty useful as far as the game goes in Eternal formats. So these are definitely going to be probably one of the bigger things that make the Unfinity set so popular is this this reprint of these Shocklands. So, and the reason they're for those of you who don't know, the reason they're called Shocklands is because when you enter the battlefield, you can pay 2 life, and 2 damage is shock. So they call them Shocklands. If you don't, it enters the battlefield tapped. So most people will pay the 2 life to have it enter the battlefield untapped, therefore essentially casting shock on themselves, which is why people call them Shocklands. So Stomping Ground, right? Look at that art. Blood Crypt, look at that thing. I mean, they're just great. I would absolutely buy a set of Unfinity honestly, I'd probably just buy a set of all these. Just one. Not to mention, look at this, right? I'm already drooling over the stained glass art for Dominaria United. But then this comes out a month later, and look at the mountain, forest, swamp, island, plains, and then there's more, right? These are all basic lands that are coming from the set. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at this. They're just cool. They're cool. I love the lands, right? Like I said, the lands, the full art lands from here, they're probably going to be the big reason why the set does so well as far as people wanting to buy it. Because normally, right? Normally, when you see an unset, right? Like everybody did with Unstable, right? Unstable came out as a board game or something along those lines. And not a lot of people picked it up because they were just like, oh, whatever. It's a little jank little thing. It's not going to be worth anything. It's not a thing. It's just playing. Unsets have always been playing in their own world, right? I'm sure there's a format specifically for cards. The uncards are also usually silver bordered, but in this case, they do not seem to be silver bordered. I think some of them will be, but most of them will not. I think the big border thing is going to be that a little symbol down at the bottom of the card that we see switch between an acorn and the oval. So definitely something to look into. But honestly, I'm in it just for the lands. I mean, call me crazy, but the the sheer want for a borderless space themed shockland. I mean, I'm sure they come in foil too, and I don't know whether or not the foils are going to be better, but like these look beautiful. And as somebody who already is planning on picking up a copy of every single one of the bounce lands that came from Double Masters 2022 in a borderless art, the borderless art's just gorgeous. And I mean, their cards, land is always something that's good to get because you're never going to not need land. Unless you, of course, make a commander deck in which there is no land, which can happen, but I don't think many people play that. So this is just kind of me going over the Unfinity stuff. I think the sticker stuff is really like the biggest change that I've seen, right? We obviously see the addition of stickers and those being introduced into actual like Eternal formats, which is kind of insane. I didn't expect it to actually hit Eternal, and maybe it doesn't, right? Maybe I'm looking at these cards wrong. Maybe it's not really part of the Eternal format, but if it is, right? Stickers, you know? Could you imagine? Could you imagine playing Vintage? A set that's like supposed to have a whole bunch of really, really old cards and, you know, cards from 1993, and then just being like, oh yeah, I use my tickets to pay for a sticker so I can put a sticker on my creature. Like, it's weird. It's weird stuff. So, I don't know. We'll see exactly what happens as far as the sticker stuff go. I think, honestly, the addition of Magar of the Magic Strings, that guy seems really cool as a commander. I think there's a lot of people who can do some pretty good stuff. Just having him essentially create creatures from the graveyard using your instants and sorceries, and then just being able to cast them as they do damage. So if you can get that stuff out, and then you have things like anger or other cards that will essentially give your creatures haste, you could very well use this opportunity to get them onto the board, swing in immediately, deal damage, cast the spell, and then still have the creature, right? So like it's a cool concept. I like the idea behind it. I'd like to make a deck behind him. I think it'd be cool. But regardless, that's it for Unfinity. I know, obviously, we went over some of the stuff that has been spoiled a long time ago, but I don't know. There's still, of course, a lot going on, right? With Dominaria United, right? Double Masters is still going strong right now as far as the market goes, and is going to continue to go strong for a while. Dominaria United's coming out in September. Then Unfinity is coming out in October. Then Brothers War is coming out in November, I think is what it said. And then Warhammer is coming out in December, I want to say, as well as Jumpstart 2022. So there's a lot. There's a lot going on as far as product hitting our faces. At least with Unfinity, it's not going to be a huge... People aren't going to be dropping tons of money into it. I would say they're going to wait, much like myself, I would say wait until the set comes out, right? Have people post their singles online, and then kind of see whether or not it's something you'd be wanting to get. Unfinity, of course, is its own little standalone set with some cards that will be Eternal format, but they won't be Standard legal, they won't be Pioneer legal, they won't be Modern legal, so you're kind of just going off of what is available there. But yeah, so that's it for Unfinity. Thank you guys so much for watching. I do really appreciate your support. I hope you guys are enjoying your time here on the channel. We do also have a Patreon down in the description below. You can always feel free to support me there. I'm planning to do a bunch of discounts on some boxes. So that way, if you guys ever wanted boxes or you wanted to do like box breaks, I can do little discounts on the boxes. So that way, if like 6 of you wanted to go in on a box, we can do a box break. If one of you wanted to buy a box for yourself at a discounted price, you very well could. Obviously, I haven't come up with a specific number as far as percentage off, but I'm thinking like 10% off. And you'll be able to do that. So that's a fun little thing to do. But yeah, so that's pretty much it from me. Thank you all so much. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel as well if you haven't already. And I will see you all in our next video. Remember to make it a great day or not. The choice is yours. I'll see you next time. Nerd out.